Today I'm going to show you guys how to cut face framing layers. If you're in the same boat as my sister is, then your hair is probably just hanging there, or maybe you feel like it's lifeless or it needs something. So I'm going to show you how face framing layers can change your whole entire look and how it will fit your face shape. If you want to know how to do the full whole entire haircut, I'll also link that below, so go check out that video. And if you guys do struggle with other things with your hair, I am giving out a free consultation to up to 50 women. So if you're interested in that, the link will be in the description below, and you'll also get my free guide. Okay, so we're probably going to do most of her haircut first so that we can establish the length. But as you guys can see, she's got a lot of face trimming layers, but they're very grown out. So her hair is pretty long, but with her lifestyle, she's a nurse, so she has her hair up a lot. So we want to make sure that when she pulls her hair back like this, she's going to have a lot of these pieces fall out. And right now they're just too long, and it's not giving her the type of shape to her face that she needs. So her hair is long, but it's also fine. So as you can see, the density down here, we don't want to take away from that, but we are going to take some length off. So I'm going to do that haircut, and then we're going to come back to the front and I'll show you guys exactly how to do the face framing layers. We want to make sure that it stays soft because her hair is fine. You can see any inconsistency, or if you do mess up, it's going to be a lot easier to see on finer hair than it would be on any other hair texture. So I finished doing the layers in the back of her head, and we're done with the length. So we've established our point to where the layers need to fall to. I'm going to finish doing the ones in the front so that they connect to the back, and then we'll work on these pieces here. So for fine hair, I always like to leave the perimeter down first, and the higher you hold the hair, the softer it's gonna fall. So I can see my guide, it's sticking out. It's sticking out right there. So we're gonna connect these layers to the very front. So first I bring it straight up at a diagonal, and I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna point cut. So I'm gonna just go at a diagonal with the tip of my scissors, and I'm gonna notch into it. Instead of just cutting straight across, this allows a little bit more of a softer end here so that the layers aren't going to be so choppy. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side to make it more of a straight line. And then I'm gonna take the same section, I'm gonna over direct it straight up. And now you can see where you need to cut. You just need to cut that little tiny triangle off. So then we're gonna do the same thing, point cutting, and then on the other side. And I'm gonna drop this section, and then I'm gonna do the very front. So maybe just a tiny bit right there. And then I'm gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. As you can see, she has a side part here. So this side is not as thick. So I'm only gonna take a section maybe about this big on this side, and that's what we're gonna layer. You can't layer this whole entire thing or you're gonna have no hair left on that side. So the whole goal for her is that she pulls her hair back almost every single day. So we want to make sure that we have a ton of these face framing pieces fall out. So what we're going to do is start with the bang area. So she wants a little bit of a bang, but it's also going to be tied into the rest of her hair. But we're going to go ahead and section this and cut her bang first. We're going to take a small triangle to start, and she also has a cowlick. So if you have a cowlick, you have to be mindful of that. So it's gonna be about this thick, and then we're gonna clip the hair that we're not cutting out of the way. So when you just want a side bang like this, you're gonna over direct everything onto the other side, and that's automatically gonna give you a perfect angle so that the bang lays where it needs to. So we're gonna take this very front piece and we're gonna create a guide from it. So she doesn't want this to go basically past her eye. However, she has a cowlick, so it's gonna bounce up a little bit. Use your comb underneath so that it lays where it naturally lays, and then cut your guide. And always cut it a little bit longer than what you think it needs to be. So we're gonna trim right about there at an angle. So then we're gonna take the rest of the section, we're gonna bring it over to the other side now. So we have this on the other side now, and you can see how much her hair bounces up. So we're gonna follow that guide. So loosely, we're gonna hold it in our fingers, not pulling it straight down like this. And then we're gonna trim. We're gonna trim a diagonal line straight down just like this. And then we're gonna brush it back to the other side. So as you can see, it's a perfect bevel right above her eye. Now at this point, if you want it to be a little bit shorter, or if you want it to be a little bit shorter right here on this tail end, then you can take it in your fingers and trim just the length right here. So that's sitting right above her eye, and she also has glasses. So it's gonna be a little bit higher, so that's where we're gonna leave it. Okay, so now we're gonna let down the rest of her hair and we're gonna tie these pieces into it. Now where a lot of people make a mistake, especially with finer hair, is they'll just start taking a section this big and they're gonna cut it into their bangs. So basically you're gonna create a hole right here. So that's something that you don't wanna do. So go section by section. We're gonna take a small section right behind it and we're gonna pull it forward, just like this, straight in front of the face. And now you can see where the disconnect is right here. So you can do one of two things. You can take your comb in your left hand if you're right-handed. You can hold it out just like this. And then you can start to carve the hair out right here to connect those pieces. Or you can also take the hair and you can flip it. So if you take your fingers, you bring it to where you think you need to cut, and then you can flip it to the other side. And then that's when you can cut straight down just like this. So I'll demonstrate right now. And you don't want to cut this whole entire piece off. Go section by section and inch by inch so you don't cut too much at one time. So I'm going to bring her hair forward and I'm going to slide cut it right here. Now at this point you can see that the hair is pretty blunt right here. You're also going to point cut it. So right here we're going to open and close. Make sure it's completely vertical. Don't go this way because then you're going to cut a chunk out of it. You're just softly going to point cut. Okay, so now when you're actually doing the layering right here, you're going to take your comb and you're going to go right where the head starts to curve right here. Put your point right there and you're going to skim at a diagonal just like so. And this is about the width of the section that you want right here. So the higher you hold the hair, the softer it's going to fall. But you want to make sure that this actually gets cut. So we're going to over direct this forward and at an angle in your fingers just like this. And you'll be able to see right where that hair starts to fall out. So I want to find the longest piece of what we already cut. And that's going to be my guide for this. So right there where that piece is sticking out, that's where the end of her bang area is. So we're going to connect this piece to the length that's up here. And you want to do it at a very good diagonal. We're going to trim all of that hair right there and then let this fall. So now you can see this is what's cut right here. And we're going to do the same thing right behind it right here. But we're still going to make sure that the perimeter is not cut into right here. So we're going to lift this up, find our guide, come straight out. Now, because of this section being so big, you want to make sure that you start point cutting and you notch right into it. And then brush it down so you can see how it's laying. Now at this point, we need to connect the length to what we just cut here. So now we're going to bring the hair straight out and we're looking at the very bottom section. So you're going to see exactly where you need to cut. So we're going to bring it straight out just like this. And you can see right here is short and then this gets long. So this right here needs to get cut off. It's like a little triangle. So that's what's going to connect our face framing to our length. So at a diagonal, I'm going to go down and I'm going to start carving it out. And by slowly doing it like this, you make it a lot softer than going in and just cutting. So now you can see she's got her layers right here. It's a little bit harder to see on finer hair, but once it's blow dried and styled, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. But now when she pulls her hair up, she can have the option to leave these pieces out, and especially if they're curled, they'll look really good. So then you're gonna repeat the exact same thing on this side, but obviously this side is a little bit less density, so make sure you account for that if you have hair like, if you have fine hair.
You have bad genetics.
Okay, so if you want to make this even softer, like I said, point cutting is what gets you there. So you can lift up sections where you think that you need it. And then the proper way to point cut is you're going to leave about this much hair. Because a lot of people will go all the way down here and they'll just go like this, thinking they're point cutting. So you need to actually cut a deep cut into the hair to point cut and get rid of some of that harsh line right there. So when you point cut, you're actually gonna go slow. You don't have to go fast. And you wanna just cut little divots into the hair just like this. Once you're happy with how it looks, at this point now we're gonna wash her hair and then we're gonna style it like usual. When you do a dry cut, your hair is automatically gonna look a little bit more choppy than after you've already freshly cut it. So we're gonna go wash her and then dry her and then show you guys what it looks like. So this is how her hair turned out. I think it looks much better than it did when she walked in. She did have really long hair, which I think for most people is a goal of theirs, but when it lacks shape, it really just isn't doing you any favors. So I hope that you guys learned something today. And if you want a full tutorial on how I did her haircut or on how I did her styling, I will put those links for those videos in the description up above. And also all of the products that I use will be linked. If you're interested in a free consultation, you can also click on that link below. Other than that, I will see you next time and in the next video.